By factoring the trinomial. So talk to me first about this trinomial. What would you do first to factor? Find a GCF if there is one. And do we have one? No, we do not. Okay, so then since it's a trinomial, we would go next to X box. Okay. A times C at the top is going to be 1 times -8, which is -8. And at the bottom is our B value, which is 2. All right? So I need factors of -8 that add to give you 2. What is it? 2 and 4. And which one is going to be negative? The 2. Yes, because this is positive. The larger digited number is going to be positive. Okay? Any questions about that? All right. Now, did you notice anything? Or what would be my next step? Okay, put it in factor form. How would I do that? Should I do the box? Do I need to do the box? I don't need to. Remember that shortcut I talked to you guys about? If the A value is equal to 1, then we can go ahead and factor this, right? And look at these and say my factoring is going to be x minus 2 and x plus 4. So then I say down here, x minus 2 times x plus 4 equals 0. All right? Questions about that? That was a shortcut that I debated upon telling you or not. Okay, so how do I want to graph this now. How do I find my roots? How do I find those roots? I have 2 factors that when I multiply them equal to 0. When you multiply something, if your product, your answer is 0, what do we have to know about one or both of those factors? They have to equal 0 too, right? So we're going to take this first factor, x minus 2, set it equal to 0, and we're going to take the second factor, x plus 4, set that equal to 0. Here I'm going to say plus 2 plus 2, x is equal to 2. Over here, I'm going to say minus 4, x is equal to -4. These are my 2 roots. So here we have one at 2. Here we have one at -4. What else do I know about this? Is it opening upward or downward? Up, because A is equal to 1. It is a positive 1. And we probably also could get the vertex. Axis of symmetry, vertex. Do I really want all that? How about my y-intercept? That's pretty easy to get. Y-intercept, does anybody remember what that's equal to? My C value. And what's my C value here? -8. So that means this is going all the way down to -8. Okay? My axis of symmetry, just looking at it, if I had to divide this into 2, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces wide right here. My axis of symmetry is going to be right here in the middle. Okay? So if this is my y-intercept, my axis, my vertex is probably going to be just a little bit lower than that. So to draw it, it's going to look something like this. Okay.
What numbers it going to?
What?
On the bottom, can you put the what numbers it going?
I didn't put a value on that. I just said if that's my y-intercept and my axis of symmetry is there, I know it has to be a little bit lower. So I did not name that one. Okay. Axis of symmetry, I could have said x equals opposite of b all divided by 2a. B is 2, so that would have been negative 2 divided by 2 times 1. So that is x equals negative 1, which I already figured out. So I think we're pretty much done. Any questions about that one?
Interruption. We, the students that are testing this morning, should head to their testing room. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so put that to the side. We've got one more for tomorrow. Go ahead and take out your homework, 12-4. This wasn't up there the whole time, was it? Good. I was like, oh, I did turn that. Huh?
The pink one was white.
The pink one for you. Let's see here. I wonder if I can find this quickly. I wanted to see if anyone had any questions. My drive, talking about my drive, 12B. And of course I don't have it up. So let's see if I can find it quickly. Does anybody have any questions? They were like really stumped. Yes? Okay, give me just a second. Okay. Number 12-4. See if I can bring this up quick now. My drive. Okay, so that is coming up. Cheatham. Okay. Okay. Who is that? The attendance person? Huh. Yeah. Okay. All right, so what questions do we have from 12-4? And hey, everybody should be taking out your homework 12-4 and be adding to it, all right? Yes. Who said they had a question? Yeah. Number 9. Let's take a look. Oh, it's on the back. Okay. So this looks a lot like what we just did to me. So it says, consider the equation c squared plus 10c plus 9 equals 0. Solve the equation by factoring. All right, so given what we just did, what would I be looking for first? GCF. Do I have a GCF here? No, I do not. So then I go to Xbox and say, A times C is going to give me 9, and my B value is going to give me 10. So because my b value is larger than my a times c, what are my factors going to be? 1 and 9, right? So it says solve by factoring. So then, since I know because a is equal to 1, I know I can just simply put in these as the roots. And I can say x plus 1 times x plus 9 equals 0. And when you have those as your factors, you can set them equal to 0. X plus 1 equals 0, minus 1, so x is equal to negative 1. X plus 9 equals 0. Subtract 9, x is equal to negative 9. So those are my two roots, negative 1 and negative 9. Okay. And from that, there's a couple ways, again, that how you can find your axis of symmetry. If I specifically ask you to solve for it, then we would use the formula. X equals opposite of b, all divided by 2a. My b value is 10, so opposite of b would be negative 10 divided by 2 times my a value of 1. So x is equal to negative 10 divided by 2, which is negative 5. That's my axis of symmetry right here. Okay. Use the roots to solve. Is this going to be opening up or down? Right, opening upward, because a is equal to a positive 1. If I really wanted to find the vertex, I know my x value is negative 5. It doesn't say we have to do that, but I mean, we got a little time. So I would substitute this in and say negative 5 squared is going to be 25 plus 10 times negative 5 is going to be a negative 50 plus 9. Ooh, maybe I didn't want to know all that. So then that is a negative 25 plus 9, which is going to be negative 16. So this one goes down quite a bit, off the chart even. So somewhere about right here. But again, I would not expect you to do that. If it just says use the roots, we're basically looking for the roots and for you to know that it opens upward, and it's going to look something like that. Okay? All right. Any other questions about this problem or another one? And I really want it to be one that you've actually looked at or that you think you might have some trouble with. Number 11, you should be able to do that one pretty quickly, I would think. Okay. Any other questions? You just need some time to work on it, right? 10? Okay, let's take a look at 10. Find the error. So there is an error. Ignacio and Samantha are solving 6x squared minus x equals 12. Is either of them or either of them correct? Explain your reasoning. Okay, so talk to me first about what we have. So we have Ignacio and Samantha. Their first line is exactly the same. And the second line, Ignacio started factoring and has x times 6x minus 1 equals 12. Samantha, it looks like, moved the 12 over to the left side and set it equal to 0. So there's a big difference there. Based on that, do you see an error there? What? What? Anything? I'm just looking. Well, like I said, there is a big difference here in this second line. Is one of them correct or incorrect at that second line? Everybody's wide awake here. Well, did we ever say make sure that your quadratic equation equals 12? No, we said what? We had to make sure it is equal and set equal to 0. Okay? So I would say Samantha is correct. And I'm just looking at her work here. 2x minus 3 equals 0. Add 3, that looks good. Minus 4, that looks good. So I would say Samantha is correct. She set the equation equal to 0 and solved. Whereas Ignacio just left it at equal to 12. Okay? All right. Okay, so really try to get this done for tomorrow. The reason I can't give you more time is I'm not going to be here on Wednesday. I think most of you know that. So I really want to try to push forward a little bit. I will have a video for you to follow and notes to copy down on Wednesday when the sub is here. But I think the more that you can get through with me in person, the better. All right. Pardon? I will be here tomorrow. I won't be here on Wednesday.
After school.
I'll be here tonight after school. Tomorrow, Tuesday, we have a meeting of some sort. Okay? All right, so let's go to your notes. Morning, TJ. And we are, I believe, ready for 12-6. Solving quadratic equations using the quadratic formula. TJ, I've got your test there. I do need that back. So take a look at it and get it back to me when you get a chance. So, not all equations are factorable. We haven't really come up with that up until this point. We used to just write the word prime. Well, now we actually have a formula called the quadratic formula. And so that's what it says. Not all quadratics can be factored. We have the quadratic formula. In the quadratic formula, which this whole thing is the quadratic formula right here. So you might want to box that. The expression under the radical sign, which is specifically b squared minus 4 times a times c, that little part of it is called the discriminant. Okay, the discriminant. Now, you're probably like, well, if x equals that, that we're supposed to have two answers, where's the second one? Well, that comes in with the plus or minus, and maybe you weren't even thinking that at all. But that's where we get our two values, because we're going to have opposite of b plus that discriminant all divided by 2a, and opposite of b minus that discriminant square root of divided by 2a. But this part under the radical right here, that I am circling, just that part, is called the discriminant. And you can use the discriminant to determine the number of real solutions for a quadratic equation. Okay? So, right here, when the discriminant is less than 0, meaning your answer is negative, answer is a negative value, then you have 0 x-intercepts. Your graph is not going to touch that x-axis. Tay, are you all right? Oh, yeah, that's next Monday. Miss Green, Tay, you all right? Okay. When that discriminant is equal to 0, then you are going to have 1 x-intercept, which means 1 real solution, which means it's the double root. So this is when the answer is equal to 0 exactly. And then finally, when b squared minus 4ac, if that answer is positive, then we will have our usual 2 x-intercepts, which means you have 2 real roots. So I like to think of these as, I don't know, kind of like cousins. You know, if you have a negative answer, you have your answer equal to 0 and your answer is positive. Your negative answer gets you the least number of x-intercepts, which is 0. The graph doesn't cross. If the answer is 0, that's the middle one. You have 1 x-intercept. And if your answer is positive, then you have 2 x-intercepts. Okay? Any questions about what those mean right now? Okay. All right, so let's look at example 4. It says, use the discriminant. State the value of the discriminant of 4x squared minus 3x equals negative 1. Then determine the number of real solutions of the equation. So step 1 is to rewrite the equation in standard form. What the heck are they talking about there? Say it again. Ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. The key here, remember, is we need to set equation equal to 0, which that will help you get it in standard form. Okay? So how do I move that negative 1? Yeah, I need to add 1 to both sides of the equation. So negative 1 plus 1, that's going to cancel out. That's going to be that 0 I'm looking for. And then keep 4x squared minus 3x plus 1. Now that is in standard form. Okay? All right, 4 minus 3 and 1. So now flip the paper over because we got a lot of room here. 4, negative 3, 1. So I'm going to rewrite it. Why don't you rewrite it with me? 4x squared minus 3x plus 1 equals 0. Okay, step 2 says find the discriminant. Before we can find the discriminant, we need to make sure we know what our a, b, and c values are. So my a value here is 4. My b value is negative 3, yes. Be sure you're looking at the sign. And c value is positive 1. Okay? So in this space here, we need to find the discriminant. which is looking at b squared minus 4ac. Now, I'm not sure if we're going to give you that discriminant by itself or if we would give you the whole quadratic formula. But you have to know it is just this part underneath the radical sign, okay? So I think we'll give you this, and you have to know the discriminant is just this part. Does everybody understand that? So don't forget. All right, so b squared. This is where most people make their mistake. When you square a negative value, please put that negative value in parentheses, especially if you're going to use your calculator. Any number squared is always going to give you a positive, okay? So negative 3 squared minus 4 times a. When there's no operator there, you are multiplying. My a value here is 4. And then times c, my value there is 1. So putting this together, you need to do, according to order of operations, negative 3 squared is how much? Positive 9 minus, okay, do I take 9 minus 4 or do I take 4 times 4? Yeah, 4 times 4 is going to be 16, and 16 times 1 is still that 16. So 9 minus 16 is negative 7. That is a negative value, okay? So because the discriminant is negative, well, we can actually say negative 7. And I'll say that is a negative value. Because it is negative 7, which is negative, my equation has how many real solutions? 0. And I want to add here real solutions, okay? 0 real solutions. Questions on that? All right, so let's see if we can do these next few. The check says, state the value of the discriminant of 8x squared minus 15x equals negative 9. First of all, when you look at that, what do you know you need to do? Add what? Add 9 to set it equal to 0, okay? So remember, you always want to set it equal to 0. So you're going to have to add 9 here. You're going to have to add 9 here. The 9s cancel out. That gives you that 0 that you need. And so we have 8x squared minus 15x. You can't combine the x term plus your constant. Plus 9 equals 0. So we need to use that little formula. B squared minus 4 times a times c. My b value here is going to be negative 15 squared. Please, again, put the negative value in parentheses. Minus 4 times my a value of 8 times my c value of 9. Notice these numbers get a little higher, don't they? That's okay. So negative 15 squared, does anybody know what that is? I do. It's 225. Minus, okay, so you do the square first, you put the minus there, and then you start to multiply the first two. 4 times 8 is 32 times 9. I don't know what that is right off the top of my head. But let's see. That leaves me with 225 minus, that's going to be 288. And if I subtract that, that's going to be a negative 63. Somebody check my math. Check, check, check. I think that's right. So this is my discriminant. Okay. The discriminant is negative 63. Determine the number of real solutions to the equation. The equation has how many real solutions? 0 real solutions. I was like, well, why didn't they change it up? We already had one that was 0 real solutions. Okay. Let's go to B. It says find the discriminants, then state the number of real solutions. Find the discriminant. So as you look at this B, again, what do you notice? What do you have to do right from the very beginning? Add 4 to set it equal to 0. Okay? Set equation equal to 0. All right, so I add 4. 4's cancel out. That gives me that 0 I want. Maybe make a smiley face. Haha, that's a good thing. We need that 0 at the end. X squared minus 4x plus 4 equals 0. And if you want, let's just go ahead and say A equals 1, B equals negative 4, C equals 4. You don't have to. And then we want the discriminant, b squared minus 4ac. So b is negative 4 squared. Put that in parentheses and square it. Minus 4 times my a value, which is 1, times my c value, which is 4. So negative 4 squared is how much? 16 minus 4 times 1 is 4, and 4 times 4 is 16. So my discriminant is 0. That is your discriminant. And when you have the 0's discriminant, remember it's either negative, 0, or positive, which means 0 roots, 1 root. So your discriminant is 0. Which means you have 1 real root, which means it's going to be a double root and it's going to bounce. All right, you try letter A on your own. Try letter A and we'll call it a day. Try letter A, we'll call it a day. I'm not even on the notes. Did you get a chance to look at that? Do you want to try to make corrections? And do you have fifth grade? See if I can get that. Mr. Ruth, yes. Okay. All right. So, what do you notice is different from A to B? Yeah, it's already set equal to 0, right? So, I'm going to say, if I can see, my A value, woohoo, my A value is 7, my B value is negative 4, my C value is positive 3. So b squared minus 4 times a times c. B squared is negative 4 squared minus 4 times 7 times 3. So negative 4 squared is positive 16 minus 4 times 7 is 28 times 3, 16 minus 6, 7, 84 means it's going to be a negative value And 7, negative 68. So this is my discriminant. Discriminant, negative 68. And because it's negative, how many real roots will I have? 0 again. 0 real roots. So the only thing that little discriminant tells you is how many real roots you're going to have. Okay? Any questions on that? Okay. That is it for